Hey!
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 Whoa,
This is the SEGA Nerdcast episode 63, Graham.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow, I did not expect us to be doing another SEGA Nerdcast.
No.
Wow, this is the weekend following. Was it last weekend when we did the last one?
Yeah, I think Monday. Was it Monday?
What?
I got hiccups.
I don't know. I really don't know when we did the last Nerdcast, but I was not expecting us to be able to do it again. The gods have shined fortune upon us.
Yeah.
And we're back here again with the Nerdcast. This time, we've been drinking a lot today. Graham actually went out.
I got hiccups just like 2 minutes before the show started.
Graham, you went out and I gave you 15 pounds.
Yes.
You went to the grocery store.
Yes, it is.
You bought like a 12-pack of Fosters.
15-pack.
A 15-pack of Fosters. A bag of ice.
Yeah.
And some tea.
I grabbed the tea. Just
some Twinings?
No.
No, not Twinings.
No. Yorkshire Gold.
Yorkshire Gold tea. I did not tell you to buy that with the money I gave you, but you bought it anyway.
Yeah, and I bought some milk as well.
And some like full is that full skim non-skim milk?
It's full. It's called whole milk. We call it whole milk.
Would you call that full skim or non-skim?
Non-skim, I guess. Yeah, because it's not skimmed at all. It's the proper stuff.
Non-circumcised milk.
Exactly. It's God intended.
We just went and ate dinner.
Yeah, we did.
What do you think of dinner?
Dinner was good.
I'm not feeling it so much. I'm really like burpy. You're
I got hiccups.
You're really hiccupy.
Yeah.
I don't think we had some Italian in West London. Are we in the West? Where are we at right now?
Kind of Westish London.
Westish.
We're in Stratford. Kind of Westish.
We're in Stratford, near where the 2012 game.
Eastish.
Near, like on the site of the 2012 Olympic Games, we're right now, right?
I think it's Eastish. Oh God, I don't know. We're
you were the worst.
Where we are. Yeah.
We decided to do another podcast because, because we didn't really talk about the Dreamcast last week.
No, we didn't.
There was we forgot last week to talk about the Dreamcast, but I guess on the 9th was the anniversary
of the Dreamcast release in America.
Of the Dreamcast release in America, which was September 9th of 1999.
Yep.
Today's September 14th, so we're about 5 days late with that.
Yeah, we are.
But you know what? We've actually been talking a lot about the Dreamcast the past week or so. We were actually on what do you call that? Would you call that the subway, the underground, or the overground?
Oh,
where was that when we were talking about that? Do you call the train the overground?
Well, the train, yeah, I guess so.
Is overground. The underground is the subway. Well, anyway, we were on one of those, and we were just like discussing basically like what could have made the Dreamcast like more successful.
Oh yeah.
And so that kind of evolved into another discussion that we had today about like basically if you won the lottery, what could you do if you were to say like go buy the Dreamcast, like the trademark of the Dreamcast, and kind of take on that whole thing with the Dreamcast? How could you take that on and make it a successful, basically new system? Is what we were kind of talking about today. So we're going to get into a little bit of that.
It's a pipe dream, but we're going to go with it.
I don't know if we really have much more of a. Last week we didn't have an outline. We don't really have any more of an outline this week.
No.
We've been drinking a lot. We're drinking like warm Foster's beer.
Yeah, it's been in the bathtub.
It's been in the bathtub for a while. And that's the thing. It was warm originally, and you bought a bag of ice, and you put it in the bathtub, and it is almost cold now, right? Well, the thing was, I had to take a shower after I got home.
Yeah, he came back because he was out doing some work, and I just happened to be hanging out here, so I went and bought the beers and the ice and stuff, and I just filled out the bathtub with cold water and then chucked in the ice, and it started to get pretty cold in there. But then Chris got back, and the first thing he was like, "I need a shower, dude." I'm like, "You can't have a shower. There's freaking cold beer in the fridge, in the bath." But pardon me. But yeah, then he was like, "Fuck that." He sort of moved it all into sink, got rid of all the cold water, and then just putting the cold tap on just doesn't do this justice, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what happened with that. Oh god, I cannot stop hiccuping. It's really annoying me now, actually.
I think only girls hiccup now, though. I think that's only a thing that girls do.
I can only tell you, Chris.
You've been a girl this whole time?
Oh yeah. With these boobies.
So I just tweeted that out. So thank you for that. So let's wait. Okay, before we get going, last week we talked about buying all those Master System games.
Yes, we did.
You went and actually were able to play them. I've not been able to play any of my games because my Genesis, which you won't see the Genesis, but
you put it in the cupboard.
Oh god, ugh. You'll see my TV over here. For whatever reason, they've somehow been able to rig it to where we can't plug in our Genesis, right? Or Mega Drive. We're in Jolly England.
Jolly England, it's the Mega Drive. Chris is in the Holiday Inn, and they've done something to the TV so you can't tune new devices in. You can plug in like an HDMI cable and it just works. So you can turn to HDMI, but anything through the standard RF or coaxial socket, which you can't retune anything. So yeah, the TV is locked.
That's what's weird. Okay, so explain that, because basically in the United States we never had to tune anything. We plugged in like an RF or we plugged the RF like cable into the back and we changed it to channel 3 or 4 and it worked. Now in Europe you guys actually had to tune it to work. Why is that?
Because that's how it works. It's like it
doesn't just work. You plug the cable in and it doesn't work out of the box.
Sorry, I'm about to there you go.
I keep smelling your hiccups.
My hiccups don't smell good.
They do. It almost smells like a vagina, like opening and closing.
That's your favorite smell, isn't it?
Well, but it smells more of like a menstruational.
You are so wrong.
But I can taste it almost when you burp or hiccup.
Well, anyway.
Okay.
It acts like a standard aerial from back in the old days when you had analog TV, because now it's all digital. Do you have digital? Do you have digital TV in America?
We do now. Yes, we do have digital.
Do you have analog still?
No, we don't have analog.
Okay, yeah, we don't have analog.
Over the air, no, we don't.
Yeah, no. So back in the day when you had analog TV, wherever you were in the UK, you had to tune your TV to those analog stations.
Okay.
There's a slightly different signal no matter where you were in the UK, and it's the same with console. So the TVs you got were just they were TVs, and you'd have to sort of go through and tune each channel and match it up. But the beauty of it in England was originally we had we had 4 channels
BBC 1, 2, and 3, and 4, right?
Nearly. We had BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV, which is channel 3, and channel 4.
But that wasn't on what's that one English Mike Myers? What was his?
It's a song he does.
Yeah, BBC 1, BBC 2. That was.
No, that's not real.
That's not real.
Unless you talk about the radio.
Austin Powers.
The radio stations. There is BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something.
Oh, that was such a good song, though. That was a good song. You have to admit.
Make love to me. Turn on the TV to the BBC. Yeah. Anyway, what was it? Oh yeah, so that's the same.
We actually have 1 viewer right now.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
We love it. Hey, dude. But yeah, we
don't leave yet.
We. God damn it. The freaking consoles, when you plug them in, the TVs were just you had to tune everything in. Unless you had a SCART. You guys didn't get SCART.
I don't think we ever messed with SCART.
Yeah, so SCART was the beauty. When SCART came out, I was like, oh, it's SCART. You can just plug it in and something works. It's magic. Yeah.
So we were way ahead of you guys.
Or behind.
No, I don't think so, because we never had to worry about tuning. It was basically channel 3 or 4, and that you're good after that.
Once if you had
Did you guys ever have the Y cables?
What's a Y cable?
It's basically, it looked like a little I'm gonna do this, but it looks almost more of like a U, and there was 2 screws, and you had to hook the U on each screw and screw it in, and it had to be a connector. Basically, the Y cables was popular during the Atari era, the 2600 and stuff like that. That's when you had Y cables. The RF came after that, I want to say.
No, so we had RF cables for the Atari 2600.
I think it may have had some RF later in the time, but I remember using Y cables for that.
Okay, my Atari 2600 has RF. Just saying.
But at least we didn't have to tune our TVs to just play fucking Sega.
But it was so much fun back in the day.
You know what's not fun is because we had to sit there when we were trying to tune new TVs into it. It took like 20 minutes to be able to plug in your Master System and Mega Drive.
Yeah,
it was not fun.
But it's because newer TVs, like modern flat screen TVs, are harder to tune. It sounds ridiculous, but back in the day, it was so much easier to tune. You just choose a channel and just hit tune, and you just move the button, move the bar a little bit, and suddenly it's tuned in. But now it's like you have to manually tune every single channel, and it's just like ugh. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess so. All right, so we need to talk about the Dreamcast.
Yeah, and also you were going to talk about Master System games, weren't you, though?
Oh, the Master System games, yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, basically, if you guys didn't watch the last show, Chris and I, we then have brought some old games. Chris got a Mega Drive. Yes. Yeah. And some Mega Drive games. And did you get any Master System games as well? Yeah.
Quite a few.
Because
probably the most amazing Master System game was Altered Beast. You and I both got that.
Yeah, we did. And that's one of the, I bought a few computer games, and I only played like 3 or 4 the other day.
Yeah.
And keep wanting to pick up a game.
Stop it.
There we go. Yeah.
We lost the one view.
Yeah. It's okay. They'll come back later. Yeah. The one Master System. I've managed to play Altered Beast, and Chris actually said before I played it that it's meant to be terrible. And we go back. I sent him a tweet saying, "Don't worry, Chris, I have to confirm, Altered Beast on the Master System is a terrible game." And Jesus Christ, basically, if Sega just released the Master System version of that game, it would not be considered a classic in any stretch of the imagination.
That's not true, Graham. Don't tell me that.
It's freaking awful.
It's not that bad.
The music is. Well,
I heard it's basically on par with like Viking Battle of Asgard.
Yeah, I've got something for you, Chris. Yeah, no, it's okay. One thing, the music is just subpar. There's like no right. You don't hear the awesome "Rise from your grave."
What does it sound like?
There's nothing. There's nothing.
There's no music. There's no like even attempt at.
It's just the speech sort of bar comes up.
Oh man!
And then like this guy pops up, and he's like walking along, and there's like the backgrounds are really flat. You know how you have the massive gravestone type thing?
Yeah, the ones that pop out of the ground.
Yeah, they're not really there.
Those aren't there at all.
I think there's like 1 or 2. There's nowhere near as many as they were originally. The enemies, when they come on screen, they look so terrible when they come on screen. They're like flashing and blinking, and like you seem to be, when you get the pigs and you get bigger and stuff.
Yeah.
You seem to be even bigger than the enemies. Like your punches seem to go right over the head, and they don't connect, but you still hit them. And when you hit them and they die, they don't die like normal. They sort of seem to explode.
That sounds awesome.
But it explodes in such a way that it's not a proper explosion. It's like they've taken the body of the characters in normal years, cut it into 4 pieces, and made those 4 pieces go like that. So it looks awful.
I have to admit, it sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, and the pigs, when they jump at you, it feels really awkward when you're moving along. You're like really staggered because there's no 3 buttons to jump. You have to press up on the D-pad. Like, God damn you, man!
I'm sorry.
He keeps farting, which is hilarious. But,
I'm gonna say you're selling me on this game right now.
Oh yeah. I lost all my lives on the first level because I couldn't hit anything for the first few minutes.
Did you try the duck kick and punch?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, that's the weird thing. The kick. Okay, in the Mega Drive version, when you crouch down and kick, you seem to kick straight up.
Yeah.
And this you kick at an angle. So when something comes down above you like that, you can't hit it.
Really? Because that's the one thing. That's the one move that you use, like when one of those bird things.
You have to make sure you position yourself in such a way that you can hit at a slight angle.
So you need to be slightly in front of it.
Yeah, it's really awkward. And yeah, you can still do the jumping kick, but that's really crappy. Oh, and when you power up into the beast thing, it's just Yeah, shit.
God damn it!
Just,
you know what?
so
Well, you know what? I don't care. I'm not believing you that it's crap.
Okay. I actually think though it's that kind of bad game that everyone has to play.
It's so good, it's bad.
It's so bad, it's good.
So that's what I meant. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've been drinking a lot
I would
tonight.
recommend everyone to try Ultra Beast on the Master System because, especially if you played the Mega Drive or Genesis version or even the arcade version. Has
there really been anyone who's seen Ultra Beast in the arcade? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, but I know.
It's that mythical unicorn in the arcade that everyone always talks about. I don't know if very many people have actually seen it. Write into us and tell us if you actually remember playing Ultra Beast in the arcade, because I don't believe very many people have done it.
Yeah, it's like the original Street Fighter. I've actually did see him play the original Street Fighter, but no one else I know has actually seen it. They think Street Fighter 2 was the first Street Fighter game because no one's seen it.
I did play. I played the original Street Fighter, but not in arcade. Not in arcade.
Oh, okay.
Like in the home console.
Oh.
Yeah.
What home console?
Yeah.
It wasn't a home console, was it?
I remember playing it. I think it may be an emulator.
Well, that makes
home PC console. I don't remember where I played it. I remember playing it at home.
Your Ouya, by any chance?
Don't you goddamn dare disparage the Ouya in my presence again.
You probably love it.
I should have brought my Ouya, and Graham would have loved it. So we just went over the some of the Master System games that you
we
played
went over one
on one of them.
Yeah.
But I think this isn't really the Master System.
I do need to just do one more game.
Okay.
That I think you'll appreciate.
Okay.
Rastan.
Yeah, because that's our buddies over at Crazy Viking Studios.
Yeah.
They created Volgar the Viking, which is soon going to be coming on the Xbox One. Soon going to be launching. So if you're listening to this and you have an Xbox One, all three of you out there who own that, no one in Japan, one person in Europe, two in North America, you own the Xbox One, go out and pick up Volgar the Viking when it launches here in a month or so.
Yeah, okay, Volgar the Viking is a really fun game. It's kind of hard, it's really retro. It's based, actually, we interviewed the guys a while back for a different website, and they said that they sort of based it partly on this old game called Rastan.
I think we got them on the Nerdcast, didn't we?
No, it was on BitLoaders.
No, I don't know.
Oh, wait, what? Might be the Nerdcast.
I thought we did.
Oh my god, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, because I thought we talked about like Shinobi and stuff.
Shit, who knows? Okay, anyway.
Fuck it.
They based it on this Master System game called Rastan, and you're basically this Viking kind of dude in that game. And part of the thing they based it on was like your power-ups, like when you get like weapons and swords.
Stop.
I can't help it.
Fucking women hiccup.
Shit.
Let me just punch you one time in the chest.
Oh, please don't do that. Yeah, you pick up weapons and stuff in the game, and when you get hit, you sort of lose that weapon or armor you picked up, which is like what is in Volgar the Viking. And I'll tell you what, Rastan, it feels a bit dated, the controls and stuff, but I was so enjoying that game. I was like playing that, I was like, this game is so much fun.
The Master System version?
Yeah.
Really?
Really enjoying that game.
Wow.
And I only got to play the first like 2 levels, but by the end of it, I was just like, I want to play more. But I had to turn it off and try out some other games like I played Taz, which wasn't very good on the Master System. I bought
that one too.
There's a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner game I bought, which looks beautiful. I mean, for a Master System game, I was like, this.
Is it one of the better Master System games visually?
Visually, it looks like a Mega Drive game.
Wow.
But I died on the first level. I couldn't get past it because I kept running out of time. I didn't realize you had that time limit, and I was dicking around. Anyway, I played a few games on the Master System, but those just Ultra Beast and Rastan. Ultra Beast you got to play because it's terrible. Rastan you got to play because it's brilliant. So yeah, so it's the Dreamcast birthday.
Yeah, well, it was the Dreamcast birthday last week.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Okay, so we're gonna do like basically a hypothetical on the Dreamcast. So what we decided to do is not really go back and talk about our favorite Dreamcast memories so much.
Everyone does that.
We're gonna talk about, like, say if we theoretically had like $500 million that we just won the lottery. And we went to Sega and we're like, all right, we're gonna buy the trademark and the rights to the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And we're gonna relaunch it. We're gonna relaunch the Dreamcast 2. what are we gonna do with the Dreamcast 2? Because we talked about this before.
We did. It's a tough one, but
how would you? Okay, so let's start off with the system itself.
well, I to be honest, I've always thought
this is a next generation Sega
That's
Dreamcast.
the thing. That's the thing. I've always thought about just.
Oh man, what was that?
I just got a text, hopefully from a girl.
Oh, maybe from a boy.
Even better. Well, okay. The issue I've got is I've always thought about just relaunching the original Dreamcast.
Would not work.
But in a specific way. Pardon me. I see. If I won the lottery and had like an unlimited amount of money, so I could go up to say, look, I'm gonna buy the Dreamcast name and stuff. I want to buy the rights to manufacture Dreamcast.
Okay.
And also license the games that you have on there. I'd relaunch the system with a built-in hard drive, with basically all the games included in it.
Well, you realize the only games that you could include in it are Sega games.
Yeah. But the majority of great games were Sega.
Granted, 2, the best RPG on the Dreamcast, was not made by Sega.
Skies Arcadia, the best Dream.
That's not true.
RPG was.
That's not true.
But it was. But it would also play any Dreamcast game as well. Like so for any homebrew or indie games and stuff that came out, you'd be able to still play the Dreamcast games, and also you'd save files to the hard drive. But should we go on to well, let's move on to actually what we talked about earlier, because I thought that was actually quite a good idea.
What's that?
About how we'd work with like the new VMU.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. Is like first let's start off with like the system itself.
Okay.
Let's start off with the system itself. Talk about like what we do with that, and then we'd expand beyond that. So okay, let's talk about. I think probably the coolest thing to do would be to design a system that visually reminded you of what the Dreamcast looked like before, but make it more of an updated look. Like I would still like a small system that looked reminiscent of the original Dreamcast, but just had more of an updated look.
Yes.
One thing. It would certainly need an internal hard drive.
Yes. Yep.
It would need to have like Wi-Fi connectivity.
Yes.
Blu-ray drive. What do you think?
Well,
the thing is, if you don't put a Blu-ray drive, think about what happened with the Dreamcast. It did not have a DVD drive in there.
True.
So you'd have to figure out what medium that you'd want to play, and I think Blu-ray right now that is the biggest. Disc, like a format for disc media right now.
True. I think HD DVD, but yeah.
We've already the Xbox fucked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still own King Kong on HD DVD.
I own quite a few HD DVD titles. I think they look fantastic, but I own more HD DVD titles than I do Blu-ray titles.
Do you still have the HD DVD player?
I do.
Do you still have it connected to your Xbox?
No, I do not.
Okay, exactly. So yeah, I think it would certainly need a Blu-ray player, and I think that would be what would be best to play your games on.
Yeah, but are we talking about having it so you could play the original Dreamcast games on it as well?
Yes, that was another thing. Like we want it to be backwards compatible with the original Dreamcast. So if you have Dreamcast games, you could throw it in there, and it would still play your old Dreamcast games. That would be an important thing.
Would the Blu-ray reader be able to read GD-ROMs?
It would be a blue GD-ROM.
A blue
ROM. Blue GD-ROM drive.
Blue ROM.
Blue ROM. I don't know how hard it'd be. I mean, we just pay. Oh man, that is loud. We just. I mean, I don't. It could happen. Don't you think? Do you think it could happen?
I think possibly. Sorry, I was going to grab this.
Okay. I think it could definitely happen. And then the controller. That's the one thing that we did talk about, which I think we had a really good idea about. Is okay. So you have a Dreamcast 2. And one of the biggest things that we discussed on the trains coming back and forth while we're traveling, I think one of the biggest reasons why the Dreamcast ended up failing, one of the reasons, is the controller.
Yeah.
The controller didn't have a dual analog stick, and that was really when the age of the dual analog became popular. You had the PS2. No, you can't.
Sorry, so someone tweeted something to me.
You had the PS2 and the GameCube, which also didn't that have like dual analog too? It had that little weird thummy stick thing.
It had the C stick, which it was
almost acted like a dual analog.
Yeah,
right?
so it could work as a dual analog, but it was a bit shit.
But the Dreamcast was the one that was like you had the Xbox, and the Dreamcast was kind of like the one system
They didn't have
in that new generation of games, even though it came before everything, that only had single analog stick, and that really made playing like first-person shooters really hard. I remember playing like Rogue, was it Rogue Squadron? Tom Clancy's Rogue Rainbow Six Rogue
Spear.
Rogue Spear, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it was the one analog stick controlled the movement, right?
It's looking. It's
so
looking up and down, left and right.
Oh, okay, the Y and X axis, and the face buttons controlled like where the camera like turned, tilted, and everything. It just was not a very intuitive control scheme at all. It would have worked a lot better if it was just two analogs, right? Yeah. And so that's the one thing we would do is like it would have to be a dual analog, probably 4-button interface, like on the face button, 2 shoulder buttons. Basically what you get with most systems today, right?
Yeah, like a 360 controller type thing, I guess.
The one difference that we decided though is that the Dreamcast 2 controllers would come in many different forms. Basically, we would have them. It could look like, and you would be able to choose between them. Yes. You could have one that looked like a original Genesis.
Oh yeah.
A Saturn and a Dreamcast, right?
Yeah. So you could choose what your preference was for games and stuff.
Right, and you know what? I think the one that I might choose, if it would be a little bit bigger, is the Saturn. I think that might be one of my favorite controllers of all time. But it would seem a little weird to have analog sticks on there, but if you can make it work, I think that might be my favorite one.
Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't think about putting analog sticks on like these old controllers.
I think the one that would work the best would be the Dreamcast because it had so much room on there.
Well, it's like the Saturn Knights controller.
The Saturn Knight controller definitely had enough room. That was one of the best, and I loved the feel of the analog stick on that. I think that's still one of the best analog feels of any controller. It feels
so natural on your thumb, man. Oh, God.
So we would essentially have, you would be able to, you ordered this Dreamcast 2, and you choose what generation of controller you'd want. They'd all be wireless, and you'd be able to connect them to your Dreamcast, and they'd be rechargeable. But we would have also, a VMU 2. We would have a next-generation VMU in there that we decided that if you would connect it, and when you connected the new VMU, it would continue to charge. It wouldn't be like the old VMU where you'd have to put those, what were the batteries?
CR232 or something.
Something like that. And you could never find those. At least in the States, they were so hard to find.
They're everywhere over here. It's fine.
That's not fine because in the States, they were not easy to find. I couldn't find them. But anyway, you'd plug it into your controller and it would charge. But what I would want it to be, like a full color screen, either about a 2-inch screen that would have a legit button interface on there, not just a tiny little D-pad and 2 buttons.
Yeah.
I would like to see a bigger D-pad, maybe something instead of that look like the VMU. I would like to see the controllers on the sides of the screen. Right. Maybe that they could fold in somehow and slide into the controller. But I would like to see a bigger D-pad. Maybe a 4-button interface, possibly a 6-button if they could fit it, but at a minimum 4-button. Yeah. And one of the things I think would be amazing would be to have some sort of Dreamcast web store where you could download Genesis, Master System, Game Gear, and possibly even 32X games, and you could take those with you on the VMU 2, and you could play them as you go. I mean, it would be a very small, I'm talking probably about the size, no bigger than the Game Boy Micro, and essentially kind of almost the same form factor where you'd have the D-pad and a couple and 2 or 4 buttons or whatever. It would be similar to that, but a really nice screen. Rechargeable battery, right. And that's what I'm envisioning. But it would also be able to connect Wi-Fi to the Dreamcast store, and you could purchase games right off that. I think it would be amazing to be able to do that. And then you could also be able to play better games that would be able to relate to the Dreamcast game that you're playing. You know, like there were some really good BMU games back in the Dreamcast era. Like I remember one of the games that really stuck out with me personally was on Time Stalkers. I don't know if you remember Time Stalkers.
I know it, but I didn't have played it.
It was a really great RPG, but one of the things that you could do in it, there was like a Pokemon style thing where you would go into dungeons, you would defeat enemies or like these monsters, and you would bring them to your side, and they would go to this like little farm area. And once you could download those animals into your, I'm sorry, it's the way you're looking at me. You download those animals onto your VMU and play mini games, and you'd be able to like raise like their levels and attributes. That would also correlate to the main game, and once you brought them back into the main game, they would retain the experience, the attributes, the levels, everything else, and they would be more powerful when you played the main game. I would want to see that taken to the next level with the Dreamcast 2 and with the VMU 2. I would want to be able to, like, every game would have some sort of like mini game or something that you could download, and it would come completely packaged with the full version of the game that you'd be able to play, and you would be able to progress in some way with that game. And next time you plug that VMU in there, you'd have a reason to plug that VMU in there because there's going to be some sort of progression in your game.
That would be awesome.
They would be amazing.
That would genuinely sound amazing. That's kind of what I wish Nintendo would do with their shit. But
the thing is that we would be taking over the Dreamcast, and this is like what we do.
This is what we'd be doing, dudes. Yeah, but have we gone over everything on that?
I don't know. Let's talk about games, because another thing is we talked about games that we'd want. If we said that there's only two franchises that you could bring over that Sega currently has that you would be able to bring over to the Dreamcast 2 to enable like a successful launch here in the States and in Europe, what would those two franchises be that you'd have a new entry in that series available at launch?
Fucking hell. Okay, a couple of games are springing to mind. One of them I wouldn't personally choose, but I would because it's so well known that you sort of have to have it associated with it, which is Sonic.
Okay. But what would this Sonic be? How would you make this game different? Why would this game be relevant on the Dreamcast 2?
I'd make it like Sonic Adventure 1.
Okay.
But it basically be like another Sonic Adventure, but I guess new story. I want another Sonic Adventure game where you get an overworld to run around in to do little puzzles, walk to the levels and stuff. Maybe play as different characters, but you get to choose. You can do the story as Sonic, and then complete it, and then maybe do the story as Knuckles, complete it if you wanted to, or you can switch and swap between the two.
What if you had a Sonic game that was like flipped it completely on its head, where you controlled Robotnik from the beginning and you had to defeat Sonic?
What's a twist? Oh my god!
What would you do about that?
That would be so much. Oh my god! Why doesn't Sega do that? that would be such a fun game. I would pay you.
You would play Robotnik and you'd have like control of like all those like little creatures and everything. But for whatever reason, you would have to defeat Sonic and all of his friends. That sounds awesome. Why? Knuckles, Amy, Tails.
Yeah, like they could be the bosses.
They would be the bosses of each stage.
So yeah, you got to try and take over a level or something, like turning all the creatures into robots and to find the Chaos Emeralds or something.
That was the only way that you could restore order, is like basically you have to find the Chaos Emeralds and restore order, and then you could then go back to like being bad again. But you'd have to do that to.
What if Robotnik is actually a good guy?
The entire time.
Yeah, he's trying to do shit. He's trying to. There's these crazy animals that can talk and run around really fast and stuff.
Because there's no reason why animals should be doing that to begin with.
And so he's trying to restore balance to the force, as it were, by getting these Chaos Emeralds, and then this really fast hedgehog keeps coming in and shitting him up. So Robotnik is a good guy. I mean, he's human. He's inhuman in the world, apparently.
I would not want like any like Call of Duty games. Like I wouldn't care if EA was even a part of the system at this point.
EA,
Okay, so Sonic. Okay, a new Sonic game that possibly would star Robotnik.
Maybe that'd be awesome.
Robot Sonic. Nick.
No, just Robotnik. Give the man his credit. Give him his full title.
So you call it Robotnik Adventures?
Something like that. Rise of Robotnik.
Rise of Robotnik.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That would
the
be
Revenge of Robotnik.
The Revenge of Robotnik. I think that would be a really fun game. That would really kind of like flip the Sonic universe on its head. Give it some like, okay, people are like, wait, what is this? This isn't, another Sonic game that you're trying to shove down our throats. It could be something new.
Yeah.
A new Sonic game, but starring Robotnik. That could be cool.
I'm up for that.
Yeah. Okay, so game 2. What is it?
I keep coming back in my head. I keep coming back to Skies of Arcadia. I know, but the thing is, though, it's such a beautiful game, but it didn't sell that well. So it wouldn't capture the hearts of all these.
Do you think RPGs in this day and age are like what we need?
Probably not. Damn you, man. I felt that.
I'm going to say give it a minute.
That penetrated my body and my soul. Oh, God.
I'm going to say give it a minute that you're really going to be excited about.
Okay. I just had another thought of a different game.
You can't say it, though.
Okay. I'd love to see another Skies of Arcadia, and I think a Dreamcast 2 would be a beautiful thing to put it on.
Yeah, absolutely. What would happen in this? Like, okay, so how could you create a Skies of Arcadia that would be relevant in today's market, and also capture the attention of the old school Sega gamers?
I would have Bungie make it and say from the makers of Halo and Destiny.
They've never made an RPG.
It doesn't
like
matter. That's
RPG.
what sold Destiny. It's like from the makers of Halo. that's what it is. If they came out with Destiny, no one would take, and they hadn't made Halo or any other game before, no one would have taken. People would be like, "That looks like an interesting game, but I'm going to pass on it." It doesn't how good the game is.
Why can't you have the original developers of
Skies of Arcadia
make it?
Well, I'd love them to because they did such a fantastic job before.
Right.
I think they're beautiful people, but. If the average man, the average Xbox player or PlayStation 4 player, they'll be like, "What the fuck's Skies of Arcadia?"
Yeah.
And we've got to try and appeal to this audience who don't know, because these guys are clean in by Dreamcast. They know what's going on. Well, okay, you bought a PlayStation before, you have a Dreamcast, but we've got to try and appeal to the mass market. That's the problem. That's the problem with the Dreamcast originally. It wasn't really because with the PlayStation 2 and I guess the Xbox as well, it managed to appeal to the mass market, which is why it sold so bloody well. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I'm getting passionate about this, man.
Yeah.
This is serious shit.
Yeah.
We need to appeal to the mass market. We've got to take this to the streets and to the online places. But you need some sort of you need something that's a well-respected, well-known company within the general populace. Because that's why Call of Duty sells so well. Because people know it. They just know Call of Duty. They're, oh, Call of Duty. Yeah, I know the game. Let's buy it again this year, and the next year.
Oh.
And same with like FIFA and shit. They're like, oh, FIFA. It's a branding thing.
Yeah.
It's the company behind it initially, and then once the branding gets around, because like Sonic as well. Sonic's being actually made by different development studios now, but people keep still buying it. It's still one of Sega's most successful franchises. So there you go.
So you would have the two franchises that you would have that would like guarantee like be able to push the system would be a new Sonic Adventure and Skies of Arcadia. Those are the two games.
I still don't think Skies of Arcadia is going to do it, but I want it.
That's just you personally.
Yeah.
I'll say.
You say your shit now, because that's what you want. That's clearly what you want to do.
No. I want you to go, and I want you to say that. So the one game that I think could really push like the visual and the graphical limits of a new system and show like, okay, this is the game or this is the system you need to pick up because it's so amazing. Graham's writing it down. Don't show me until I say it.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to say, wait, tell me when you're done.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to say Condemned 3.
There you can see that. Condemned 3.
Yes. Graham knows me. I think Condemned 3... One of the things about Condemned that was so amazing, there was never a game that quite set like the mood, the environment, and just it was so original of what it did.
Yeah.
It created like you walk down these hallways, you saw the shadows, the lighting, the sound. You could hear like these these men, these like homeless men coming out of, you know, a corner, and it scared the living crap out of you.
Yeah.
And you had just a piece of wood, and you just hit them with it over the head, and you could feel like the nails like sticking into their head, and like you could hear it. It sounded just so intense.
Yeah.
It was one of the most like emotionally evoking games that I played. Like from just like being scared of being like, you know, like I felt powerful by beating these homeless people to death, but just everything else, like there was just so much that it made me feel. Like I don't remember another game since then really making me feel all those emotions.
I concur, definitely.
And since the original Condemned, it was amazing. It hasn't really like visually like kind of dated that well. Like it hasn't aged very well if you go back and look at the original Condemned.
It's not terrible, I think.
But it had so much, like, so many, like, cool, unique things about it. Not just all of the puzzles and all of the horror that you dealt with, but it was also, like, all the investigation that you had to do. Like, you come upon this crime scene, and you have to, like, literally investigate it. You find out, like, okay, like, what happened to this person? Is there fingerprints on it? Is there some sort of clues around there that's going to let me, like, get in more, like, knowledge about this serial killer who's on the loose? You're trying to find this information. I think there's so much like potential with that franchise that's just untapped. There could be so much cool things that could be done with that.
Oh yeah.
And I think like you put another Condemned out there, you put a lot of money behind it, and a really good development studio. I would love Monolith to come back and really you know put some effort into that. You put money into that, put some marketing behind that, and think of like some ways with Condemned 2. They try to do a multiplayer, and actually I really liked the multiplayer in that. It was a lot of fun, but they could come up with maybe some other unique ideas to try to extend the shelf life of the game, keep people playing it, whether it's through DLC or multiplayer or whatever it may be. I think it would be really cool, and I think that could be a flagship title for a new Dreamcast. A Condemned 3, kind of like, even if it was just like Condemned 3, this is wrapping up the series. You got to play this game and really know what's going to happen. What was his name? Ethan.
Oh, God,
I won't say Ethan.
It was Ethan Thomas or something?
Ethan Thomas, yeah, that's his name. I would scale back some of the like powers that he started getting in the second one. I didn't really like that. I really liked the first one where he was like just more of a regular guy. He was a detective on the lookout for the serial killer, and all this just weird shit happened. Like I really kind of like started getting like disassociated with it. It was pulling me away from the game when you started having all these like weird superpowers. I would go away from that and just make it like just a straight up like thriller, like survival horror style game. And I think that would be really, really cool and could show off some really neat technical things of like a really high powered Dreamcast 2. I think that would be really awesome.
I think I would have to agree on pretty much everything you said there. Although I did love Condemned 2 because I thought that was a great game.
I did too, but it was just really different from what I was expecting. With the second one, it was like it didn't take that next logical step. Like it jumped a few steps above that. Like it was just like, all right, now we're just doing this like really weird like sci-fi type thing, which is fine if that's the kind of game that you were expecting and that's what you knew. You're going to have all this stuff. Because there's been tons of games like that. But the original Condemned, I don't think there was a lot of that. Maybe like later in that game you started seeing maybe like a glimpse of some of that. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember offhand now.
It's been a while since I played both of them.
Yeah.
Because I actually finished Condemned 2 before I finished Condemned 1. Because Condemned 1 scared the shit out of me so much I couldn't play it.
I remember trying to get you to play it. You're like, I can't play it. It's too scary. I just can't do it.
I played the demo and that freaked the crap out of me. And then I actually played Condemned 2 at one of the SEGA press events and freaking loved it. I think they gave me the game actually because I had to review it. But I think I bought it as well. I actually owned 2 copies of it because I actually went out and bought it as well because that's how much I loved it. Yeah, I was supporting you, Sega, you bitches. But yeah, Condemned 2, I played through and just loved every second of it. And then I was like, right, I'm just going to have to balls up, man, and play Condemned 1. Condemned 1 still scared me, but I actually managed to pluck up enough balls to actually play through it. because I get scared of games quite easily. But yeah, Condemned. The Condemned series is. I got scared of Zelda Ocarina of Time at one point.
Oh my god,
yeah,
baby!
I think I must have told this story so many times in the Nerdcast, but in my defense, it was kind of a freaky bit. I went out. It's the first time we got into Hyrule Field, and you get to see the actual the sun moving across the sky. And I was like standing there. I went into the first person mode to look at it. Like, oh, it's moving through the sky, and then the moon came up. And as the moon comes up, like the music goes down. Suddenly you hear this weird, oh, and then like these weird sounds. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was looking around in first-person view, looked down, and this skeleton came out of the ground at me in first-person view. I just went, and just like threw the controller down, like, yeah.
That's
so
great.
yeah, I used to get scared in Tomb Raider. I still get scared of Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raiders.
That's hilarious.
Fucking hell, Tomb Raider 1 and 2, that's a scary game. Anyway, yeah, Condemned. The Ken game's great. The bear bit in Condemned 2. Do you remember that bit?
The what?
The bear bit.
Oh, the bear was crazy. Yeah, there's a scene like basically in Condemned 2, like towards the end of the game where there's this gigantic bear that starts chasing you through this cabin. Probably the scariest point. And I know we're going to spoiler territory here.
Yeah.
I think it was in the original Condemned. There was one scene like where you're walking in this department store, and this is to this day this is scarier to me than Resident Evil when the dog jump out of the window. You're walking in this department store, and all of a sudden there's a mannequin blocking your way, and you have to like turn around. You turn around, and all of a sudden there's another mannequin there blocking your way. It's like on this pedestal, and there's these creepy-looking mannequins that just have this like weird look. So you walk forward, and you're like, you can't go anywhere. So you turn around, try to walk back, you can't go anywhere. You move to the left, all of a sudden there's another one there. Before you know it, they're just a ring of mannequins blocking your way. And I remember I got so scared at that moment. Like, I didn't know what to do. I just turned into a little girl. Like, that moment scared me so bad. It was one of the most amazing moments. At the same time, I was like, this is awesome. Like, what Monolith was able to do. They scared me so bad at that. That was one of the coolest scares of any video game. And it wasn't like one of those just cheap jump out scares. It was like a legitimate, like, I'm completely freaked out.
It's
right
a proper
now.
put your controller down and go, fuck!
Yeah, I just wanted to turn it off and just like, I'm done with this game. Forever.
If anyone, the only thing I can compare it to is if you're a Doctor Who fan from the Weeping Angels. Have you ever seen?
No. Mm-hmm.
They're basically these angels which they've ruined it now. They've used them too many times in Doctor Who. That's my water.
That's your water.
Yeah. Sorry. In Doctor Who, there's this thing called the Weeping Angels. The very first episode of Weeping Angels was actually quite freaky because they have the statues which are like angels that have their hands covering their eyes like this. And every time you look at them, they're just doing that. But suddenly you turn around and they're right behind you, sort of doing that. And it just like really chills you. But they ruined it later on. They made it so that you can sort of see them going and stuff, which is less scary. I think. Yeah. The scariness was just behind the innocence behind them, but the fact there's something right behind you. And the whole thing is they touch you, they send you back in time in Doctor Who. As soon as they touch you, you're back in time. To any point they want to put you in time. So they don't kill you. Anyway, that's what the Condemned bit was like. The fact that there's these inanimate objects or something that just surrounded you. You're just like, what the fuck do I do? I can't remember what happens after that, actually.
I've never. I don't know.
Yeah, Xbox is still on at home, and you haven't got past that bit yet.
I don't remember anymore. I did beat that game. I beat both games. I've completed both of them. Condemned is, you know what? Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, Condemned is my favorite Sega franchise of all time. I think.
Really?
I was just so emotionally connected with that story.
No, I appreciate it. I think it's a good shout.
It really is. Like, I think I loved it so much. Like, it was so original when it came out. And I don't know. Okay, it's hard for me to say it's the best because there's a lot of, like, Shining Force is still another game that I really that series I love so much. But Condemned, in the most recent sense, Condemned I think is still the best series that Sega's done most recently. I don't think there's any series that Sega's done past that's been better.
Yeah,
Condemned is I think is it. It's been amazing.
I think I can concur with that.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So okay, that was my first one. It would be Condemned.
Yeah.
And I think like a legit online co-op 4-player Streets of Rage would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like a next generation, completely.
Would it be completely 3D, or would it still be sort of?
I want I would love like the same like visual style, like it's a side scroller, but I want like completely like 3D visuals, amazing backgrounds and everything. I want all of that. I don't think that would translate well to a completely like 3D first person style of game.
Okay.
I think it needs that same like sort of side scrolling, almost isometric, whatever you want to do. I think it needs that kind of view, and it's a side scroller. I think it needs that, but I think just as updated as you can get with the visuals and everything, I think it absolutely needs that. But I would love like drop in, drop out, like online co-op play, where your buddies can come in whenever they want, whether that's local, like you have 2 players local and playing with 2 players online. Whatever that is, like just completely like make that as seamless as you can, and it would be like the game that's like, all right, you know what, you can play with your buddies online, you can play with your buddies at home, anything you want to do, but it's like a new Streets of Rage game, and
sweet.
I everyone wants that game. I mean, people have been talking about new Streets of Rage for so long, and I think beat 'em ups are one of the just most fun games to just sit around and play with your friends. I mean, think about what we were doing at the bar last weekend. We sat around, we were drinking beer, we were playing Streets of Rage. It was so much fun just beating the shit out of things and while we were drinking beer and just talking about stuff. It's like such a good, chill, like casual game that you could sit around and have fun with, whether it's someone like sitting next to you or whether it's your friend playing, online somewhere. I think that would be a really fun game to be able to play. Definitely. Maybe it wouldn't be like the graphical showcase that a Condemned or something like that could be, but I think it could be a really good game to be able to showcase like some sort of new SEGA or Dreamcast 2 like online network that's like, all right, this is what we're going to be able to do with this system, and whether you could, download and play some sort of game on the VMU2 with that, some sort of interconnectivity between those two. You could there's just a lot of potential I think there that you could do, and so that would be my 2 games. I think like
that's cool.
It would be Condemned 3 and Streets of Rage 4.
4, yeah.
Streets of Rage 4.
Definitely. No, brilliant.
So if we combine those together, we had 4 games.
Sonic, Skies of Arcadia, Condemned, and Streets of Rage.
I think we're going to get a lot of like hate that we didn't mention Shenmue.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love, obviously I'd love another Shenmue, but man, it's just not enough people appreciated it when it back in the day.
There's no way another Shenmue is going to be, I think, able to be like profitable anymore.
Because, okay, I think potentially there could be a way, but it's going to be so much. It's going to have to end up being so much similar to like Grand Theft Auto or something, like one of those sort of games. In that, I think it's going to lose the Shenmue appeal that it had. Because Shenmue, you could do so much shit in it. Well, it's shit, but you could do like so much in it. But not much of it was actually really relevant to the main storyline.
Right, but that's what really like made Shenmue though. Like it was like completely like wrapping yourself into Ryu's life, that you felt like you were living this other life, and it was almost like, as much as it was an RPG, it was also a simulation.
Yes, yeah, right? And I think that's the beauty of Shenmue. I think that's why it's so good. However, I think it's also why it's turned off by the mass market. Again, the problem with the freaking game world is that it has to appeal to mass market. They have to sell enough to make money. Yeah. In fact, Shenmue, I guess, didn't make enough money or whatever, and so many Sega games actually don't do that really enough. But that's what they need. But that's what I'm saying. It might need to be more like Grand Theft Auto or like Sleeping Dogs. Remember Sleeping Dogs? Yeah. In that there's sort of all these side missions you can do, which are fun and just pointless, but because they're still not as realistic as what Shenmue was. Mm. But I mean, in a massive pipe dream mode, say if I was the richest guy on Earth, I would pay to have Shenmue 3 made just like Shenmue 1 and 2 were, I'd be happy with that.
All right.
I'd be so happy with that.
Before we leave, let's talk about this. Let's think of the one mistake the original Dreamcast, or Sega made with the original Dreamcast, that we would fix with the Dreamcast 2. And what would that be?
Game-wise, or just what?
Anything that related to the Dreamcast. One of the things that you, in your mind, Sega failed at with the Dreamcast, that you would fix with the Dreamcast 2 to ensure its success.
There's so many things coming to my head, but I think one thing would be marketing. Sega needs a fucking marketing department.
Well, yeah, I think the marketing department of today pales in comparison to what Sega did 20 years ago.
Yeah, for the Dreamcast, in America you had these cool things saying it's Dreamcast, it's thinking, and you actually had adverts showing the games and footage and stuff. Europe, you didn't get that. I actually quite like the European adverts, but they didn't showcase anything about the console. There's like one which had like these guys in a barber shop, like four guys sitting down with loads of crazy hair, 4 barbers, go player 1, go, player 2, go, player 3. Basically, it's showcasing that you have multiple players. And there's another one which is like 4 kids on a beach throwing rocks at this bell thing in the sea. And it's sort of like player 1 takes a shot, misses, player 2 misses, and player 3 misses, player 4 misses. And then suddenly like you hear this ding! And like from behind there's a guy with a catapult and like a slingshot. And he goes, player 5 wins, and he goes, Dreamcast up to 6 billion players, because it's the whole online feeling. And I like the advert. There was nothing in it, any games in it, so people didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
There was a lot of
like,
that old like marketing. They didn't showcase a lot of games. It was a lot of just like people doing stuff.
Yeah, so that's all the marketing was in the UK. They had one advert for Metropolis Street Racer, which looked good, but they only ever showed it like really late at night when no one was really paying attention. They had a Tomb Raider 4 advert because Tomb Raider 4 actually looked better on the Dreamcast than it did on any other system. That's PlayStation
up to that point, right? Yeah.
Or PC. On Tomb Raider 4 looked better than the PC version. They had better lighting and better shadow effects. And they actually said that in the advert. She's like walking along looking all sexy, going, "The reason why I look so good is because of the Dreamcast." But they didn't show you gameplay footage as far as I remember. It's just a CGI Lara Croft walking along in a really nice room or something. But yeah, basically the marketing, because they don't advertise their games properly. Even today, they don't fucking advertise their games properly. I mean, they advertise online on YouTube and stuff, which is fine, because that's where a lot of gamers go to, but the average person in the street, if you know about, like, the guys who know about, like, Call of Duty or GTA or whatever, what are you doing?
I don't know. There we go.
He's playing with his phone.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, big games like GTA, Call of Duty, FIFA, any of those games, they advertise on TV a lot. They advertise on massive billboards and stuff. You know about it because they're in your face going, "We've got this cool new game. Come on, check it out." Sega's never been able to do that. I completely understand it's due to budget because it costs a huge amount of money to do that, especially TV spots. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
I think the one thing that I would change is SegaNet. If you remember, when Sega launched the Dreamcast, they came out with their own ISP. And that was like supposed to be this like big thing. Like you subscribe to SegaNet. I don't know if you guys had that in Europe.
We didn't have SegaNet.
Okay, you did not. So this is essentially Sega's ISP, and if I remember, it was like $29.95 a month. It was expensive.
You had to pay for the internet.
Well, you had to. It was its own ISP, like so you could use it on your computer and everything.
Oh, could you?
So it was like its own ISP, like say AOL or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you could use it like that, but it was a Sega ISP. But somehow they said that it was like you subscribe to SegaNet and you would have like faster internet or something like that. But I did some trials with it, and it was I mean you were really handicapped by the modem. It was a 64K modem or whatever it was.
56K.
56K. Yeah,
33K in the UK.
Yeah, it was 56K modem, and so you really, it was up to that is the best you could get. What I would do is like just completely revamp the network. I like the idea of a SegaNet, but I would make it a network and extend it beyond like what Xbox has done with Xbox Live. Like I think you certainly have to have like a Dreamcast store and everything, but I would, as much as possible, And I think one of the biggest mistakes all these video game companies have made throughout the lifetime of their consoles and the new iterations of these consoles is they don't allow the full library of games to ever be available.
Yeah.
It's like every week there's like 1 or 2 new games, and there's a couple more games, and a couple more. And before you know it, they're on to the next system, and they've only scratched the surface on what some of these old systems had in offer, whether it's like a Neo Geo, whether it's like the NES or any of that stuff. They've barely scratched the surface on what that is before they go on to the next system, and then you have to start over from square one, where it's like, okay, well, now here are these like first-party games that are available again, and then you go on to the next game. You've already bought these games a million times before, and you don't want to buy them again just to be able to play them on a new system. You don't want to do that. So I would love for Sega to come out with a new network, and whether it's be able to like a subscription service where you pay like $10 to $15 a month and you get the full range of Genesis and Sega CD. You get the full range of Sega games from that first-party Sega games that they have the rights of, and they can sell and license out. That you could have access to all of that as long as you subscribe to the new Sega Net. And that would also include like online games, access to the store, friends list, all that kind of stuff. I would love to see like a fully featured web store that really did it right, that looked at all of the problems and all of the just the missteps that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo has done throughout the years, and say, we're going to do this and we're going to do it right. We're going to just put all these games available out there, and you can pay a small monthly subscription fee, and you can just play whatever it is you want. Or if you want, you can just buy these games like a la carte. Whether it's like $3 for a Genesis game, $10 for a Saturn game, $15 for a Dreamcast game, whatever that it may be. You can have that, and you can have the choice, and really the choice is up to the consumer whether they want to do a subscription or pay a la carte, but really not gouge the consumer. It's consumer-friendly prices, and I think that would be an amazing thing, and really give people a reason to say, all right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to give the the Dreamcast 2 another shot.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, no, genuinely, because I think that's something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Man, whew.
This got really serious while we were really
serious. Man, I think we should. Do you want to do some very? How long have we been running for? I don't even know now.
I have no idea.
Do you want to do a very quick weirdest and worst?
Okay, weirdest and worst.
Okay, here's the thing. Everyone who's been talking about the Dreamcast over the last week or so have been talking about their best games, which is fantastic. But everyone's done it, and people have already named like Shenmue, Skies of Arcadia, Sonic, Jet Set Radio. There's so many great games on the Dreamcast. But what are the worst games? Because let's face it, the Dreamcast wasn't a perfect system. There were a lot of bad games there. There's also some very strange games, and I'm going to mention a game which I don't think Chris has heard of. I don't think many people have heard of, because I only heard about it a few months ago, and I instantly wanted to try and get it, but I haven't been able to get it yet. But I played it because I managed to actually download a dodgy copy. But I'm actually going to try and buy a legitimate copy. But let's go for worst or weirdest first?
Weirdest.
Okay, weirdest. I've got a weird game.
You're asking me?
I'm asking you. Have you got a weird game?
I do have a weird game. You want me to go ahead and say it?
I'm going to write down what your weird game is.
I think I said it before, though. I don't think this is going to be fair.
Actually, no. Maybe I don't know what your weird game is. Okay, go for it.
I just forgot the name of it.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Okay, it's not the game I'm thinking of. Thanks.
Well, it's the one with David Bowie. God damn it. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, okay. No, no. Okay, no, that's not good.
What's the name? What's the name of the game?
Okay.
Shit.
It's in America it's called Omicron.
Oh, yes. Omicron.
Omicron. In
the Nomad Soul.
Yeah, in Europe it's just called the Nomad Soul.
Yeah.
I wrote something completely different.
What'd you write?
Seaman.
Yeah, Seaman's great.
That's not the game I'm after. But yeah,
like Omicron was just really weird because it was like, I guess, the very first like sandbox game I've ever played. Like it was like a game where it's like it essentially just put you out there and you could kind of do what you wanted to a certain extent. Like basically, like you were set in the future. It was almost like a running not Running Man, but what's the other?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Thank you. It was almost like Blade Runner, where you're like in the future, and there was all this just like weird technology, and just like there was like this central government that kind of controlled everything, and you were like a detective. Your girlfriend tried to like kill you at the beginning. Like something weird happened with your girlfriend.
I can't remember now.
And there was like some sort of demons like trying to kill you. There was some weird like interdimensional thing that was like trying to come get you. But at some point in the game, you could go out and control like other people. That was like a central theme throughout it. Like you would be able to move like your consciousness into other people. And go out from there.
Hence the nomad soul.
Right.
The soul would wander.
The soul would wander. And one of the neat things, though, is that like David Bowie played a pretty central like part in the game.
All the music was done by David Bowie, and David Bowie's character appearance appeared in the game.
I think what ended up happening is only one song by David Bowie.
Oh, I thought all the songs were David Bowie.
I think they were originally supposed to be, all the songs were supposed to be composed by David Bowie, but there were some sort of right issues, and only the main song that he sung in the game ended up being by that, and some other guy composed the rest of the music. I'm really certain that that
sure
ended up
my
happening.
packet it said music by
It does say that on the cover. It says music by David Bowie, but I'm pretty sure it's only one song that was actually composed by David Bowie. But he also is in the game.
Yeah.
Like you see this like weird like music video type thing. It was also the very first video game that had boobs in it that I remember. There was like a stripper or something like that you could go in and
see boobs?
I saw boobs.
So in the UK one, then she's wearing like a bra or a bikini or sort of type thing.
I saw boobs, and it was pretty hot back then.
I spent all my money going into that strip club just to see boobs.
Yeah.
I never saw any.
Yeah,
it was the American version.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah, get that because it's like fully.
But that's strange. The American version stuff's normally censored more than the UK stuff.
You'd think so, yeah. Maybe we just got like an M-rated version of it, and you guys got a lower rated version of it. But yeah, I mean that game, I never ended up beating it. It was so weird. Like man, it was such a wacky game. But I love David Cage. Like I've played so many of his games. I played Heavy Rain, beat that. I played what was the last one that he did on the PS4 or PS3 with Ellen Page.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Beyond
Two Souls.
Yeah, Beyond Two Souls.
I played that and I beat that. I really like Quantic Dream and David Cage.
They did what's that game?
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Also, what's that? It's had another name in it. There's another name because I think in the UK it's called Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit. It was called Fahrenheit in the UK, and I can't remember what it was called.
Indigo Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy.
Yes.
It was called in the States, and that was another really cool game. I didn't beat that.
We tried to play together at the same time. Do you remember?
We had this Graham and I had this weird idea where we would basically play the game at the same time, but be Skyping as we played. Yeah. It didn't really work out so well.
Because I think you had the downloaded version, I had a disc version of the game, and because you had it downloaded, it had no loading time and stuff, so you got into the next bit before I was, and also because the game had so many options in it, like you could, like at the start, someone dies inside the toilet, and you can either like clean it up and cover it up, or you can do something else and do something. There's like 3 or 4 options. So, like, we were going completely different directions. So once you've done if you do one option, it changes what's going to happen next in the game. So yeah, it didn't work out at all. Playing the game together. Yeah,
it was not good.
But that was an awesome game. I didn't get very far in that game actually. And also going back to Nomad Soul or Omnicom, as you said, the main point of the game was the soul that when you can like try and take over people's body. I never got to that bit of the game. I played that game for at least 6 or 7 hours.
I don't know if I ever did either.
I think I got lost. But my friend, actually, the guy you met, Neil. He played that. It's one of the few games he had on the Dreamcast. He had 6 Dreamcast games. It's one of the games he had, and he got I think he completed it, and he got further than I did. And he's not a gamer at all. So he was like, dude, that bit's really easy. Like I got that really quickly. I was playing that game for a good 6 hours, and I still did not find out how to do that.
Wow. Okay.
So
I have to ask him.
I think I just suck at that game basically. But I enjoyed those 6 hours I played it. I need to go back.
I would love to go back.
I need to go back and actually play that game though, because there's so many other Dreamcast games I bought at the time that I just sort of played them and completed them. And
yeah. All right. What about you? Weirdest Dreamcast game?
Weirdest Dreamcast. Okay. As I say, I don't think you'd have heard of it. Okay, I'm gonna have to try and pronounce it now. Zuzar Vasa.
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's a Japanese-only game as far as I'm aware. It's a racing game, and you're racing in these weird chariot type things, which are controlled by mechanical animals. And you got like, I think you got like gorillas, you got like, you got water levels like dolphin type mechanical animals, like I think you get like horsey type, tiger type animals and stuff. And you choose like what animals are controlling. I think you get rhino. They're all sort of like safari style animals, like stuff from Africa. They're all mechanical. And to be honest, it's not a great game, but at the same time, it's brilliant because it's so unique. It's almost like a sort of, I guess, like Episode 1 Pod Racer or Wipeout style game,
right?
But you've got these mechanical animals, and the graphics aren't great at all. The tracks don't look great. The controls are fucking awful. But I ended up, because I've actually tried to buy it 3 or 4 times off Amazon, and every time I do it, the shipping's either ridiculously long time or too expensive, or the users have sold out of the game, like, so I can't actually get hold of it. I'm still trying to pick it up, but I ended up downloading a ROM off the internet or whatever, just to try and play it. Annoyingly, the version I've got is not complete because it doesn't actually have the soundtrack on it, and because I've watched videos online, the soundtrack sounds brilliant, but I swear people need to actually see this game. As I say, it's Zuzar Varsar. It's like ZUSAR. That's it's 2 words. Try and YouTube it or Google it or whatever, Bing it, whatever you have to do. But it's such a unique game. It's so weird, and as I say, the controls are terrible. The graphics aren't great or anything. But I was playing it, and I was really enjoying this game. Like the first track, I was like, "This is a terrible game." The second track, I was like, I'm interested. Third track, I was like, "This is awesome! I want more! Oh my god!" Because it gets better and better. And like you have flying animals as well, and you have a limited control over going up and down and stuff. But you're still on this like course and stuff, and some of the courses have multiple routes as far as I remember. It's by far not the best looking game on Dreamcast, but it's just one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it came from, but I just sort of saw it recently. I saw some sort of video on like,
I have
YouTube.
to check that out.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend check it out. So that's my weirdest game. Okay, what about worst games?
All right, really quickly.
We're going to wrap this up as soon as possible.
I think probably How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, really?
Was one of my worst games. Absolutely terrible. Like it looked really bad. I remember I bought it because I really wanted to get my daughters into playing video games. And at the time they were really into that movie. They liked the movie, so it was a licensed game on the Dreamcast that I thought I could get it for them. So I bought it, thinking they'd play it, and they did play it, and they hated it. It was basically just like a lot of different, just like little fetch quests that you have to go and like pick up presents, like a certain number of presents in a level or something like that. The control was not good. The camera was really bad. Visually, the game looked like shit. And yeah, it just was a really bad game. And there's other games that you could say like, was it like Fighting Heroes or something weird like that? That's really, really bad. Fighting Force. A lot of people say that's one of the best or worst. I mean, Kiss Psycho Circus is one of the worst.
I wouldn't say.
That's one of the ones that you always hear as one of the worst. I'm not gonna say those, but yeah, for me, it was the Grinch. It was one of the worst.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, I think the Kiss game's not great at all, but it makes me feel sick when I play it. But I don't think it's the worst game by far. Gee, I had some games in my head. I can't remember what they are now, but I think one that always springs to mind for me, because I think it was so bad for me because I was so excited for it, and looking at the screenshots in magazines and on the back of the case, I was like, this game looks sweet. Spirit of Speed. Don't know if you have
I think I might have that.
Yeah, if you don't know, it's a racing game, but you're racing in like old cars, kind of like if you've seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
It's those sort of really old racing cars. It looked as I say on the screenshots of it looked like it had really good graphics. I started playing the game. I was like, this is not the game I've been looking at for like the last few months. And I was just like looking at it, and I started playing it, and it's just, the controls are terrible. The tracks are boring. There's nothing redeeming about that game I can think of. The music was blur. Yeah, and there's nothing about that game. I think I almost cried when I played that game.
Aww.
Luckily, I managed to actually pick it up in a bundle of Dreamcast games, so I think I got it cheap. I count it as being free with some games I bought, basically. So Yeah, because I got it way after it had been released and stuff. So yeah, I guess I'm not that sad about it, but at the same time I am because I really want to play it. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
That sucks.
Yeah. So, but there are there's probably other worse games out there.
Yeah.
But,
so hopefully we did this Dreamcast episode a little bit differently than other people have.
Probably not the best Dreamcast episode ever.
No, we won't go on limb and say that, but
we are still...
at least we did something different, right?
Yeah.
We went and talked about what we would do if we made a Dreamcast 2.
Yeah.
We talked about our favorite, if we were to do that, what franchises we bring back to be able to make it a success. And then we also talked about some of the weirdest and worst Dreamcast games. Yeah. Yeah. So and then we also talked some Master System stuff.
Yeah, we like Master System.
So, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so it's a Dreamcast, but it's been the Dreamcast birthday last week in America. Let's do something for the 14th of October, because that's when it was in Europe. That's the Dreamcast birthday in Europe.
All right, maybe we'll look at what the European Dreamcast launch was.
Oh yeah.
Maybe, and you can review every one of those games. Right? Come on, you can do that.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Man, I would actually like to. That's one game I need you to get hold of. Soul Calibur.
I have it.
I want to play the American version.
You never? Why are they different?
Maxi. He has the nunchucks. In the American one, he's got 2 nunchucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
European one, he's only got 1.
Oh wow.
They got rid of one of his nunchucks. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
He was pretty much the cheapest character in the game.
He was awesome.
He's really cheap. Yeah. He was really cheap. Keelik was my favorite.
Keelik's awesome.
Yeah, I love Keelik.
The bow stuff.
Yeah, the bow stuff. He was great. I loved him.
There's Keelik and Maxi, the 2 characters I always use.
Yeah.
My brother used to get mad at me. Especially with Maxi, he used to spin it on his leg and stuff, and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I have no idea. I pressed the button for 3 minutes, and he's still spinning around and doing all this stuff.
God, that game is so good. I love that game so much.
Fucking hell, yeah. I always forget about Soul Calibur being a great game. It's so good.
It is really good.
So good.
I think that it's really probably my top 3 favorite fighters.
It's brilliant, yeah. I don't actually like
it. It still holds up to this day. It's one of the few Dreamcast games that still visually hold up to this day. I remember looking at that game and I was like, I don't believe this is real. It looks realer than real life.
Should we just do a very quick best looking Dreamcast game, very quickly?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I'm already going to say that.
No, let's just do it. Let's do it. Okay.
All right.
So Soul Calibur, yeah.
Yeah, Soul Calibur. I mean, up to that point, the way there was the way the textures worked in with each other, there was no tearing.
Yeah.
It looked so smooth. You didn't see joints. That weird that texture and polygonal joint type things that happen in characters. You didn't see any of that. Everything looked smooth. All the characters looked great. They moved really fluidly. The backgrounds, everything looked great.
The music was fantastic as well.
Yeah, I think visually, to this day almost, that's the showcase of the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I think I can go with that.
I don't know if any other game on the Dreamcast holds up as well as the original Soul Calibur, and that was a launch game.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I have to say I think Dead or Alive 2 actually looked bloody good as well back in the day.
Yeah.
Think about that one.
I don't remember that so much.
Dead or Alive 2 just.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, it did look really good.
Yeah, I still think that looks fantastic. I think 2 other games that spring to actually. 3,
I was thinking,
I've got 3 games that spring to mind, but.
Just go ahead. Really
okay,
quickly.
I'm gonna say the Shenmue games. I still think they
don't hold up very well.
I still think they hold up brilliantly, personally.
Okay.
I can play those games and still think, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I still think there's a lot going for them. Okay, they're not as good as an Xbox 360 game or PS4 game or something, but bloody hell, I still think it looks good. Echo the Dolphin, I still think looks fantastic, especially in the later levels when it gets really crazy and all stuff. Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. I won't say Silver.
Really?
No.
Damn.
I love that game though.
I've got it. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
I played the first 30 seconds of it.
I will say Grandia 2 still holds up to one of the best voice acting games of all time. Okay. I think the voice acting in that game is incredible.
I still haven't played enough to I've got it.
I still kind of had a weird sexual thing for the demon chick in that game. I thought she was really hot. She had these big boobs and cleavage that was going on.
I completely understand.
I was man, me, I think I was 20 years old when the Dreamcast came out, something like that. I was totally into that. I was fresh off my teenage years, really into big boobs, boob demon chicks. Yeah, I totally would have.
You remind me of one other game, Skies of Arcadia. I still think that looks really good.
Yeah, but the random battles killed it.
Yeah, the random battles were a disappointment, but I still think the game's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. Anyway,
all right, that's going to do it for this week. I think we'll be back. I don't know when we're going to be back because I'm going to be going to Spain next, and then I'm going to be going to Italy the week after that. So
they have internet over there.
I'm going to try to do it.
It's not quite a third world.
Yeah, no. I'm going to try to do it. I just don't know what my schedule is going to be like. So I may not be on the next couple weeks, but we'll see.
See what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's really good having you in England, buddy.
Yeah, I've had a great time. Tomorrow's the last day of the Invictus Games, and
so when are you leaving? When are you going?
I'm leaving on Tuesday.
Okay. Oh, dude, so you got 3 more days in England. So 3 more days to fart in my country.
Yeah.
Bastard. Get out.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's gonna do it for us.
Yeah, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed it. It's kind of impromptu. Well, it wasn't impromptu. It was like a last minute thing. We're like, let's just do it. Let's do it tonight.
Yeah, we were drunk and we just figured we'd do it.
Yeah, we just thought we'd do it because we hadn't done it. One about the Dreamcast, and yeah, it probably wasn't. To be honest, it probably wasn't that good. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah,
just talking.
It's fun talking about it.
Yeah. So cool.
That's gonna do it for us. All right, take it easy.
Cheerio.
Bye.